Well guys, welcome back to another video. Today, got a nice easy job. Got to turn on this pivot right here. We turned it off for a few days because it was getting a little bit too wet. And you might be thinking, when does it get too wet in Texas? Well, let me show you. With peanuts like this, you can tell that they're getting quite tall. I'm here just kind of sitting in the valley, but still, they're at my knees. So you can tell these leaves and branches, they are very, very tall. They're about 3 feet tall, give or take. And when you have the rows here like this, you can tell they're completely overlapping it. And then when you look underneath here, there's completely still soaking wet because all these leaves right here are covering the ground, making sure that the moisture all stays in there. The sun can't hit the ground and dry it up as easy. So it was a little bit too wet, and peanuts at this time of the year, they can get they're more susceptible to diseases. So we're trying to keep it not too wet, but still water them. So we have a nice little poking stick that we made ourselves. We poke it into the ground, see how wet it is, see how far you can stick it in the ground. If you can stick it all the way in the ground, that means the ground is very moisturized, I guess. And we couldn't quite poke it far enough in the ground. The top ground is wet, but the ground does need a little bit more moisture, so I gotta turn it on. And since we did turn this one off, we were still watering a different pivot over there, which I gotta go turn that one off now. But all I gotta do now is just open this valve. If it'll wanna go, there it is. Open that valve all the way. I'll turn on the pivot. I actually turn on the pivot a little bit later. I'll first go turn off that other pivot and then go turn on a few more wells. So since this field is done watering, I'm still gonna leave this well on because that other field is gonna need it. But I'm just gonna close this valve right here. There you go. No more water flow into the pivot. We were just barely chemigating calcium into the field. This should be empty. Yeah, it's empty. We were chemigating calcium onto the field. We put calcium on our peanuts right here. These are Virginia peanuts, and putting calcium on these peanuts will later on help whenever we dig the peanuts. They'll help to where the pods themselves, the peanut pods, they'll stay on the plant better, then they'll be stronger. When we dig them out, not so many of them will fall off, and we'll get more peanuts off of the field, I guess. So I'm just going to change this now. Percent. Put on 100% right now. I wanted to get back to the north end because it did just finish putting the calcium on the peanuts right now. So I just want that on 100%. Make sure it's on forward. Then I just want to put a service stop in here, which I believe, is that here? No. Service stop, C. Set position 359, enter, escape. There you go. That should stop at 359 degrees, which is north. I think you can put 0 degrees in there, but then you have to do 0.0 to where it knows that there's actually a number. But anyways, now since this pivot is gonna stop watering, got this pivot all done now, and I gotta turn about another 10 wells back on, or else that pivot over there does not have enough water. This pivot does have a smaller gallon package in there than that pivot over there. That pivot has, I believe, a 600 gallon package, and this one has a 300. So I got to turn on 10 more wells. That pivot should have enough water. I'll turn that pivot on and make sure that the tips are open. open it to about 30. Call it good and go to the next well. All right, now that I turned on enough wells, I'm now gonna turn on the pivot. It seems to have enough pressure. Yeah, it shows it has 19 pounds of pressure right there. So now I got to turn it on, and I want to do application. I want to do about 1.5 inches. So that's gonna be 10.92%. I don't like the 0.92%, so I'm just gonna change that to 10%. No, that's not OCD, that's just nicer that way. I like it. Enter. 10%. All right, that's doing 1.6. That'll be fine. So 10%. There's no service stop. Now I just got to put it back on forward. Should be up and running now. Everything checks out fine. If I can get this one handed. There you go. And since there is 19 pounds of pressure, there is a well right here. I do want to turn it on. That way tomorrow, because we're leaving that pivot off for at least a day, because that one also seemed to be a little bit too wet, so we're turning that off for a day. We're going to turn that pivot back on tomorrow. And I do not want to come here across the field again with the four-wheeler driving over the peanuts so many times. So because there is 19 pounds of pressure, this is a small well. I'm still going to turn it on. That's not going to make too big of a pressure difference. I do not want like above 30 pounds or anything, and this shouldn't make too much of a pressure difference. Maybe bring it up to maybe a little over 20, but that's about it. So it should be fine. I was going to walk along here and open tips now, but as I was driving along here, I kind of just looked across the field, and it looked like all the tips were open, except I couldn't really see this first tower here because, you know, it's all in the peanuts. So I'm just going to walk this first tower just to make sure that these first two towers are open. I mean, it looks like they all are. Usually at this point in the season, it's rare that you'll actually have tips closed because, I don't know, it just seems like towards the end you just don't get as many tips closed. Actually, that one's closed. Actually, that one, never mind, it's not closed. It just has something on the splash pad right there. But looks like they're all open, so it should be good to go. And yeah, probably gonna be it for today. We'll do some other things, but nothing really video worthy, I guess. But while I'm here, might as well show you some of our peanuts. I'm just gonna walk out here a little bit, pull out a random one. Actually, instead of pulling out another one, we pulled out one the other day. Might as well show you that one. Don't feel like pulling out too many peanuts out of the ground. Let's see here. Yeah, right here we pulled some out the other day. I'm just gonna take this over here, which we did pull off quite a few peanuts, but if you take these, open them up, these are Virginias. They are quite a bit larger. There's, let's see, where's the size comparison? Right here. This is maybe, well, this is actually too large. Let me, right here. This right here on the right, it is a Virginia, but this is more of the size of runner peanuts. I mean, this one would grow bigger. But when you look at runner peanuts, these are usually going to be the average size, and these are Virginias. You can tell they're a whole lot bigger. I mean, this is just for size comparison, but this is a whole lot bigger. Every now and then, if you look hard enough, you'll find one of these big ones. It has three of them in there. If you open it up, one-handed. You open it up and you'll actually get 3 pods instead of 2. But sad thing is with these big ones, they might have 3 peanuts inside, but they usually tend to be a whole lot heavier, and when you dig the peanuts, they'll usually end up falling off, so it's almost not worth it. But we put calcium on all of our Virginia peanut acres, so that calcium should help. It should help make the peanuts a whole lot stronger. So let's hope we get a good harvest out of it. I'm really excited to start digging lots of our peanuts. As you can tell, we do have very big peanuts. They usually don't get this big. I was shocked that they got this big. I mean, it is also a Virginia peanut genetics or gene. Virginia peanuts like to grow a little bit bigger than like the leaves and stems and everything. They like to grow a little bit bigger than other peanuts, but I'm excited for harvest season. Hope y'all are too. I'm really excited. Can't wait. But yeah, pivot's up and running now. That's gonna be it. Thanks for watching, guys.